The Israeli military says about 300,000 Palestinians have left the city of Rafah since Monday, when Israel told them to move to a nearby district of Gaza. The Israelis have declared a narrow coastal strip at Al-Mawasi to be a safe humanitarian zone, but the UN says it has no running water or proper sanitation. Israel is planning an assault on Hamas fighters in Rafah and has ordered tens of thousands more residents from eastern districts of the city to leave. Evacuation orders have also been issued for thousands of people in parts of northern Gaza. Last night, a long-awaited US government report criticized Israel's use of American-supplied weapons in the Gaza war, saying it's reasonable to assess they have been used in breach of international humanitarian law in some instances. This report from our Middle East correspondent, Yolande Nell.
Now a ghost town. Parts of Rafah that were crammed full of people just days ago are rapidly emptying out. Palestinians fleeing in their thousands as Israel signals it's now set to push in further from the east, issuing new evacuation orders. There's no choice. We have to go to the coast like everyone else, Ahmed says. Israeli airstrikes and artillery shelling have caused panic and Palestinian casualties. Israel says it's taking action against Hamas in one of its last strongholds, here attacking a launch site for rockets fired at an Israeli city. But with Israel's capture of one main border crossing and another blocked off by fighting, this is the fifth day with no aid getting into southern Gaza. There are severe shortages of food, clean water and fuel, deepening the humanitarian crisis. So far, Israel's military is describing its offensive in Rafah as limited. But the world is watching to see if this turns into the full-scale invasion that the country's allies have warned against. And as Israeli tanks and troops await orders near the Gaza border, there's been another strong statement from Washington. It says that with some of its strikes on Gaza, such as this attack on a residential building late last year, reportedly killing over 100 people, many of them children, Israel may have used American-supplied weapons in breach of international law. Israel has consistently denied any violations. And yet the new report may yet have an impact on plans back here in Rafah, where there's already a growing sense of emergency. Yolande Nell, BBC News, Jerusalem.
And Yolande joins me live now from Jerusalem. Yolande, what more can you tell us? Are there any fresh updates as evening approaches in Gaza?
Well, we've had the Israeli military talking about how its forces have been involved, they say, in face-to-face combat in the areas around Rafah, saying too that there were 4 rockets fired towards the Kerem Shalom crossing in the southeastern corner of the Gaza Strip, where aid has been unable to get through for the past few days. And we've had the Israeli military too saying that across the whole of the Gaza Strip in the past day, it has carried out dozens of strikes. These have not just been in Rafah, but also in the centre of the Gaza Strip, where a funeral has been taking place for some 25 people who were killed in an airstrike overnight. Palestinian health officials saying that at least 37 people were killed in the latest airstrikes. We know too that the Israeli military has been issuing evacuation orders for tens of thousands of people in other parts of the Gaza Strip in the north, particularly in the area of Jabalia. And that's significant because this is an area that Israeli forces previously withdrew from. Now this could be a sign that Palestinian armed groups are moving back and that they're planning to return there.
They're planning to return there, yes. What more could we expect from the Israeli military? Because obviously we saw earlier in the week when it's issued some orders for people in eastern Gaza, it then sent ground troops into those areas. What can we expect to happen?
I mean, the US assessment a couple of days ago was that what was happening in Rafah remained a limited, more precise operation, not the full-scale ground invasion, which there's been so much concern about. Even we can see, though, at the moment, it's still causing this new humanitarian crisis in the south of the Gaza Strip, what is happening at the moment. But really, all eyes are on the borders to see if there are going to be more forces crossing in, if this is going to be a complete ground invasion of Rafah. Previously we've had Israeli leaders saying that this is something that needs to happen in order for Israel to be able to declare a full victory over Hamas in this war and to try to bring home Israeli hostages.
And Yolande, of course, all eyes are on the Al Mawasi area where now nearly 300,000 people are believed to have moved to. What kind of a humanitarian situation is there? Of course, since the war began, there have been serious concerns about the provision of basic services on that part of the Gaza Strip.
Yes, the Israeli military calls this a safe zone, says it's recently been expanded, but UN agencies say really it's anything but. People there have not been protected from the fighting, and because humanitarian supplies are so restricted anyway, they have not got in that location, these sandy dunes really close to the beach of the Gaza Strip, proper sanitation, proper water supply. Still the same severe shortages that we're now seeing across southern Gaza. It remains an extremely desperate situation.
Thank you very much. That's Yolande Noel there in Jerusalem for us.